On page 6.5 and 6.6, we are going to be dividing monomials. So we've added and subtracted, we've multiplied, we've taken an exponent to an exponent, and now we're going to divide them. So just like I have been doing, if I look at number 1, I'm going to write out before I show you the rule. So x to the 5th divided by x to the 3rd would look like this. X times x 5 times, and then x to the 3rd would be 3 x's on the bottom. Well, what happens when you divide something by itself is it cancels out to 1. So those would be canceled out and we would be left with x squared. So you're asking yourself, what can you do with the 5 and the 3 in order to get 2? And that answer would be subtract. So our quotient rule, x to the a over x to the b is x to the a minus b. So when you are dividing, you subtract your exponents. So this video is going to have all the odd problems, and then the other video will have the even problems. So number 1, 5 minus 3 gives us x squared. Number 3, 3 minus 3 is actually 0. So if you wrote out m to the 0, you could do that, but you need to change that to 1. Anything to the 0 power is just 1, and the reason is those would cancel out to just 1. So you don't have m left over, you have m to the 0, but you need to write that as 1. So anytime you have the exact same exponents, they cancel out to 1. Number 5, we just have 2 different variables, so one at a time. We would have p to the 3rd when we subtract, and q to the 4th. So when it's just the variables with the exponents, you subtract your exponents. Now we look and see what happens when we have coefficients. So this is a division problem. So you need to divide your coefficients and then simplify by subtracting your exponents. So 6 divided by 2 is 3, and then x to the 1st. I would prefer if you don't write the 1. So anytime you have an exponent of 1, you just write it as the letter. Number 9, negative 36 divided by 4 would give us negative 9. 2 minus 2 is 0. Those cancel out. If you want to write c to the 0, you can, but then you have to go back and get rid of it. So I would just not write anything. And then d to the 2nd. Number 11, 4 divided by 8, you need to write that as a fraction, is 1/2. A lot of people write n to the 5th. That is incorrect. Remember, there's an invisible 1, so we would have n to the 4th. 1/2 n to the 4th. So it is possible to have a fraction in front of your variable. So the rest of the video is going to have everything combined. So you are going to have to remember what to do when you add, subtract, multiply, divide, and have an exponent to an exponent. So when we look at 13, the first thing we need to do is get rid of our parentheses. And we do that by doing 3 squared, which is 9, and we multiply our exponents. So 9x to the 10th over 27x to the 3rd. 9 over 27 simplifies to 1/3. Again, you need to know if you're using a decimal, how to change your decimal to a fraction. And then subtract to get x to the 7th for your final answer. So this one is your final answer. Number 15, our top stays the same, so 12w to the 9th, v to the 4th. 4 squared is 16w squared, v squared. So your first job is to always get rid of parentheses if you have those. 12 over 16 simplifies to 3/4. W to the 7th when we subtract v squared. When you have an entire quotient, so an entire fraction to an exponent, you just need to do the top separately from the bottom. So 2 to the 3rd is 8. M to the 12th, n to the 6th, over 4 to the 3rd is 64, m to the 6th, n to the 3rd. So you have to distribute, technically, that 3, that cubed, to every single part of the fraction, top and bottom. Then we can simplify. 8 over 64 becomes 1 over 8, m to the 6th, n to the 3rd for your final answer. So same thing here. Do each one separately. 4 squared is 16, a squared, b to the 4th. 5 squared is 25, a squared, b squared. 16 over 25 can't be simplified, so just rewrite it. Your a's cancel out. A to the 0 is just gone. You actually could have realized that at the beginning and not worried about writing them in the next line. And then we would have b squared. (21), we need to get rid of our parentheses by multiplying. So we don't have any exponents on the outside of our parentheses, so we just need to multiply the top together. 2 times 3 is 6. P to the 3rd, don't forget there's an invisible 1. Q to the 5th. Over negative 6 PQ to the 5th. So 6 over negative 6 cancels out to a negative 1. You don't need the 1 though, just the negative sign. P squared, and the Q's cancel out. So just negative P squared is what you would have for 21. (23). Now we do have exponents on the outside, so we need to deal with those first. So 2 squared is 4, x to the 6th, times, when there's nothing in between, that means times, 3 to the 3rd is 27, y to the 12th. So that becomes 108, x to the 6th, y to the 12th. So that's your whole top. Your bottom, you can just rewrite then, is 12, x to the 4th, y to the 5th. So your final answer, 108 divided by 12 is 9, x squared, sorry, I forgot my 1 there, and y to the 7th. (25) looks really scary, but again, one thing at a time. So we need to deal with this multiplication first. Negative 24, c to the 5th, d to the 3rd, over 6c squared d. I'm not even going to bring that other part down yet. Since it's subtraction, you need to get this first part into one term. So this would give us negative 4c to the 3rd d squared. Now you can see that that matches the subtraction there. So now bring down minus 9c to the 3rd d squared. So we have negative 13c to the 3rd d squared. Remember, when you add or subtract, you do not change your exponents. And finally, 27. First, we need to think of distributing our exponents. So that would give me 8m to the 6th. 2 to the 3rd is 8, and then multiply to get m to the 6th, times 3 to the 3rd is 27, n to the 12th. So I'm going to put those together first before I divide. That will give me 216, m to the 6th, n to the 12th, over 9m to the 4th, n to the 7th. So I kind of cheated a little bit and didn't write the fraction out the whole time, but that's okay. So 216 divided by 9 gives me 24 m squared n to the 5th. And that's exactly what we need so that it matches with our 18. So minus 18 m squared n to the 5th gives me a final answer of 6. M squared n to the 5th. Do not change your exponents.